A very good day to you, Desiree, and to our viewers at home. DA members have come out in their numbers. They've occupied the church square here in the city of Tshwane to try, by all means, to send a message to the finance minister that they want change and they want that medium-term budget statement to really make sure that they they take their proposals into consideration where the cost of living is concerned. The party has been steadfast in ensuring that at least the value-added tax is relooked and that the finance minister, when he delivers, he takes the plight of South Africans into consideration. More or less, they've been saying that the prices of food have been going up and the cost of living has been really, really hard for those that are on the ground, saying that unemployment is also rife. So all of these things, they need to be taken into consideration when the finance minister delivers his budget policy statement in Parliament next week. So their members are here. The chief whip from Parliament is here. The member of Parliament, Dion George, is also here in terms of making sure that they, by all means, send a message to the powers that be, that being the finance minister. This is where, Desiree, they'll also today be submitting a memorandum of demand in putting pressure to the finance minister to do right in delivering on those proposals brought forward by the Democratic Alliance. I'm going to bring the national spokesperson for the party into the conversation now, Soili Malati, who'll just let us in on what is happening here today. We see that, you are pushing and ensuring that the finance minister those proposals into consideration. Welcome to the SABC.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. So basically today is the culmination of a campaign that we've been running, and the purpose of that is to cut the cost of living. Food prices are expensive, the price of electricity is expensive, fuel prices are expensive. So what we are doing here is to submit a memorandum with petitions over, thousands and thousands of South Africans have joined the call and signed this petition. And we are proposing 5 solutions. One is calling on government to cut, fuel prices and remove the fuel levy. That will then lead to a reduction of the cost of fuel, and that will have a triple effect on the transportation costs for food. And when that happens, we know food will remain cheaper. And we're also calling for government to relook the composition of VAT across certain foods, particularly foods that we know are used and consumed in most poor families, such as chicken. It is a source of protein in many families, and also such as cooking oil. For instance, the price of cooking oil has been, massive over the last course of few months. So all these proposals are intended to bring relief to South Africans. We are also saying it does not make sense for South Africa to be sending 500 million to Cuba when South Africans are starving, because that money can be redirected towards relief programs that support poor South Africans that can make ends meet during this difficult time. It is very expensive to look for work if you are unemployment, and if you are working, it is even more expensive for you to get to work because of all these associated prices. And we are saying these are not impossible demands that we are making to the Minister of Finance. They are within his ambit. It's a matter of relooking his economic policy model, making those interventions, bring relief to South Africans, because we are in very difficult economic times and we need to respond to those demands. And more importantly, we are also saying government fast-track land reform so that you can give title to those beneficiaries on land reform who can then work the land for agricultural purposes and begin to produce, their own food.
We know very well that this is something that you've raised in Parliament as well, in putting pressure and making sure that the finance minister does right by the people on the ground. Has there been some sort of appetite coming from government? Is that why we are seeing you guys here trying to apply pressure to ensure that at least when that budget speech is delivered next week, all of these things are taken into consideration?
Yeah, there's been acknowledgement of these proposals in Parliament when we first had the press conference by the Minister of Finance and even the President. But more than an acknowledgement, we want to move towards acceptance and execution of this, because these are easy to do. But most importantly, we're also looking with a hawk's eye towards the Finance Minister's medium-term budget policy, which is coming in the next 2 weeks, so that whether he will introduce any of this means. But what we are prepared to do is that we will take the fight on the streets if needs be. That's why we are here. We'll take it to Parliament, we'll take it to the union buildings until this message gets through to the government and to the Minister of Finance.
Soli Malachi, thank you very much, sir, for your time. That is Soli Malachi coming through there from the Democratic Alliance, just letting us in really on what we're expecting here today. We know very well that they'll be inching towards submitting that memorandum of demands in putting pressure and really all of those things that he cited there to say that the cost of living has really been high for men and women on the ground. Those men and women are here and they're just trying by all means holding placards to ensure that also their voices are heard.